We are going viral. Le'Veon Bell is still a no-show with the Steelers, and his teammates have shown displeasure with him likely missing week 1. But one player has his back. Antonio Brown posted this picture on Instagram of the two with the caption, "We all we got, we all we need, ready to roll whenever you get back with us, family."
We thought his other teammates had his back until they stabbed him in it.
Right.
They're coming out and making those comments.
Amen, AB. That's great. That is what you expect from your teammates, from your union brothers, from anyone who wants more money for themselves when it's their turn to make it. That is the type of message from the best player on the team to the second best player on the team.
Yeah,
I like that.
When the offensive linemen are chirping, just keep in mind that those guys, they're on their second and third contracts.
They got the money.
Le'Veon Bell hadn't had a chance to monetize his ability on the open market. He's got to get paid.
Marquise Pouncey and even Ramon Foster, the two guys chirping the most, guess what they both have in common? They've both made more money in their careers than Le'Veon Bell, despite both of them never being as good as Le'Veon Bell. AB, who is as good, has his back. Good for AB.
All right, time now for some stories to start your morning. The lone bright spot on the stat sheet for the Falcons last night was Julio Jones. He caught 10 passes for 169 yards. Nick, how impressed were you with Julio Jones?
I mean, he continues to impress. This is a guy who the Falcons years ago traded up, gave up enormous draft capital to move way up in the draft to get this player, and he has made them look right each and every year. Once again, he fails to get in the end zone, but I put that more on his quarterback and his coordinator than on him. He was the best player on the field last night. The best player for either team on the field last night was Julio Jones.
Agreed. Julio Jones plays big boy football, and you know that he's motivated this year because he was chirping about his contract in the offseason. The Falcons put a Band-Aid on it, but this is him campaigning for a new deal before he turns 30 years old.
Man, he's great, man. He's great.
All right, NFC North battle now. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers facing Khalil Mack and the Bears defense at Lambeau on Sunday Night Football. Chris, how much does Rodgers match up against this defense? How well does he match up against?
Rodgers is the best quarterback from a skill perspective the game has ever seen, so it's never a bad matchup for him. The one thing I do get concerned with, though, is because they got Khalil Mack, a former Defensive Player of the Year, that's a pass rusher, is him staying upright. That's going to be the big key, the offensive line being able to protect him. That's a pretty good linebacking core for the Chicago Bears, and Vic Fangio, he knows what he's doing in terms of dialing up schemes to be able to neutralize certain players. So this is one of those things I'd be interested to see how it plays out, but you got to give the benefit of the doubt to Aaron Rodgers, especially out at Lambeau.
And I'm excited to see Aaron Rodgers team up with Jimmy Graham. I think the Bears had an underrated defense before they added Khalil Mack. The one big need they had was outside pass rusher, and they got maybe the best in the league. I think the best in the league at that. I still think Aaron Rodgers will do what he typically does against the Bears, which is shred them for multiple touchdowns and no interceptions. But I'm excited to see Mack, who I think, even though he's only been with the team a week, will make an instant impact with Chicago.
All right, among the must-see one-on-one battles this weekend, Odell Beckham versus Jalen Ramsey. Despite tweeting his excitement about playing Odell, Ramsey's now downplaying their face-off. Nick, this upsets you to the core. How much will the matchup between Ramsey and Beckham determine?
I hope all the old men yelling at clouds in the media who say, oh, Jalen can't say this, can't say that, are happy. You neutered one of the most fun players in the whole league. He's now giving us both teams play hard sound bites. That's not who you are, Jalen. That's neither here nor there. About the matchup. If Odell dominates, the Giants win this football game. If it's played to a standstill, then either team could win. You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I just don't agree with it. If it's a stalemate, then I think the Jacksonville Jaguars win because Odell Beckham Jr. is more important to his unit, his team having success than Jalen Ramsey's is to the Jacksonville Jaguars defense or team. You take Jalen Ramsey off that team, that's still a really good defense. That's still a really good team. It's one of those that can make it to the postseason. He's just the best corner in football. You take Odell away from the Giants, and they don't have anybody that can dictate front and coverage. It's just a different story.
I do wonder if Bart Scott might be right, that what they might actually do is have Jalen go one-on-one with Shepard and then put AJ Boye, and a safety and double Beckham to try to frustrate him. That would be an interesting wrinkle from the Jags going into this game.
All right, let's end him with the Patriots and Texans. The older, gifted quarterback Tom Brady facing the younger, gifted quarterback Deshaun Watson. Chris Caney, what will the Patriots have to do to avoid the upset against Houston?
I think they have to find a way to be able to sustain drives and manufacture offense. And that's saying a lot, seeing as how outside of Gronk, you don't have a lot of commodities at the skill position players. But Tom Brady will find a way to be able to get it done. I think a lot of the pressure for this Patriots team will fall on the offensive line trying to block that Houston Texans defensive front. That's where it starts. That's where the game turned last year in their week 3 matchup. Whitney Merciless got the strip sack. Jadeveon Clowney returned it for a touchdown. That's going to be the big difference. If the Patriots are going to win, that offensive line is going to have to keep those defensive linemen of the Texans at bay.
Listen, I don't think the Texans are a great matchup for the Patriots because of what you're talking about. This is a team that, when healthy, we think has one of the best pass rushes and overall talent on their front seven of any team in the league. Right now, they're healthy. The Pats' offensive line is in disarray to a degree. They lost their left tackle in free agency. The left tackle they drafted to replace him blew his Achilles. They only kept 7 offensive linemen on their initial 53-man cut because they didn't have enough guys that were in their camp that they liked. I understand all of that, and maybe the Texans can take advantage of that. The reason I think the Patriots will be fine in this game is to beat the Pats. You typically need to have a couple things. One is multiple ways to beat them because they're going to take away your best way to beat them. I don't think the Texans have that. I think the only way the Texans can beat the Pats is DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson hook up together for a huge game, and they are going to go into this game trying to neutralize DeAndre Hopkins. That will be their first and second priority. And the other reason I think they will struggle against the Pats is if you have a glaring weakness, I trust no one more than Bill Belichick to exploit that weakness. And the Texans have a glaring weakness. That is their offensive line. I think it's the worst offensive line in the league. It was last year, and they did not repair it. So for all those reasons, I just think schematically the Pats are going to have such an edge going into this game, even if personnel-wise, I get a lot of the reasons why the Texans can be a rough matchup for New England.
How much does it throw Tom Brady off his game, but you can't throw Tom Brady. But how much does he have to adjust with those pass rushers all healthy out there on Sunday?
It makes it very difficult for Tom Brady if you're getting after him with the front four. The key is not having to blitz because Tom Brady's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL. So personnel-wise, I don't think the Texans are in that boat. But if for some reason their front four can't get to Tom Brady and they have to dial up some blitzes, it could be a long day for that secondary of the Houston Texans just because Tom Brady knows exactly where to go with the football and he knows the matchups that he likes as soon as he gets to the line of scrimmage. So that'll be a key. But again, this is going to come back to the Houston Texans. Their offensive line is bad, so Deshaun Watson's going to have to make some off-schedule plays, use his legs, get outside of the pocket, convert, keep drives moving. But defensively, it's going to have to be about that front four of the Texans getting after the Patriots. That's the only way that the Texans have a chance to win in this game.
The other reason they're at a huge disadvantage is not just because they're playing the defending AFC champs on the road in Foxborough, or at Gillette, pardon me, but also because they go into this game already, in my eyes, already down 6-0. Because you have Bill Belichick, who's worth, in my opinion, about 3 points a game in his team's favor schematically. And you have Bill O'Brien, who I think is about a -3. Bill O'Brien, I believe, is a good coach. Monday, well, hold on. I think he's a good coach Monday to Saturday. Bless you. But on Sunday, you might want to lock that man in the closet. He's been the head coach of this team for almost a half-decade now. He cannot figure out end-of-half situations. He cannot figure out his timeouts. He cannot figure out when to go for it on fourth down. The Texans, every year under Bill O'Brien, lose a game or two more than they should have because he screws those things up. One of those games last year was against New England, where Bill O'Brien screwed up the clock in the score situation at the end of the game, gave Brady the ball back, down less than a score, and what did he do? Promptly drove the Pats down, found Brandon Cooks in the front of the end zone, game over. So I just think schematically, Belichick has an advantage over everyone. It's an enormous advantage over Bill O'Brien.
All right, let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys now. They're in Carolina on Sunday to face the Panthers. They'd like to